I bought a year-round pass for the zoo. I was like, oh, if everything goes down, hey, we can at least go outside and walk around the zoo and see animals. Next day after I bought a year pass, they closed it down. I'm like, okay, they closed off all our hiking trails. Everything's closed. Every pool's closed. The hotels are closed. The bars are closed. The restaurants are closed. So we've been literally locked inside.
Okay, how about what's open?
Walmart. The grocery stores, Walmart, you can do takeout, pickup, but now they've opened as of 2 days ago, Monday. They opened for 25% capacity dine-in, but you have to make a reservation. And it's like my bar is also a restaurant, and they opened up for 25% capacity. I haven't been contacted yet to go back to work, which is fine because whatever. But I mean, everything is just now. You have to make a reservation to get in anywhere because everyone is so itchy to get out of the house because there's been nowhere to go, nothing to do unless you head out of state or further up into like Sedona, where they also closed off a bunch of trails. So you have to like know the area to know how to navigate to get into wherever to like hope you don't get caught to go hiking. So that you're like, well, why aren't you going outside? Because there's nowhere to go.
Okay, let's bring it back here. First, I lost you. Oh, here we go. I lost you guys there for a minute. I couldn't find you. Okay, so that is very, very fucking chaotic and sporadic energy. So let's, okay, okay, let's even it out. So actually, I want to. So I'm working on a new ebook that I'm going to be releasing here in the next few days. Okay, and I wanted to sort of bring up an excerpt from that ebook because I'm calling it Decrypting the Language of the Human Body. All right, it's only about like 25 pages, but in these 25 pages, it identifies like, you know, like some of you guys have had body work for me. So you guys know that like I can feel energy in the body when I'm working on the body. And there are certain, you know, like areas of tension or imbalance that we have physically that correlate to an emotional aspect. So I don't know if any of you guys have like constant irritations or issues in different parts of your body. I want you to listen to this. I'm just gonna kind of list it off here. And I want you guys to tell me if you have anything in any of these areas, and then maybe we can like build on that and see how the habits in our life right now we can shift them, and we can work on it through nutrition and, you know, through awareness of our patterns of what we're ingesting, not just like food nutrition. I'm talking emotional and energetic nutrition as well. All right. So we're going to start at the head and then work our way through the body. Okay. So the head represents us. It represents what we've shown to the world. How we are recognized. Something wrong in the head area means we feel something is wrong with us. Okay. The hair represents strength. When we are tense and afraid, we create those bands of steel that originate in the shoulder muscles and come up over the top of the head and sometimes down around the eyes. The hair shafts grows up through the hair follicles when there is much tension in the scalp. The hair shafts can be squeezed so tightly that the hair can no longer breathe and it dies and falls out. If the scalp remains tense, new hairs cannot grow. Baldness is the result. Okay. Female baldness has been on the increase ever since women have begun entering the business world with all its tension and frustrations. All right, tension represents not being strong. It is weakness and fear. Being relaxed and centered is peaceful is really being strong and secure. The ears represents the capacity to hear. Problems with ears represent something you do not want to hear. An earache would indicate that there is anger about what is being heard. Deafness represents long-standing refusal to listen to someone. Now, of course, like if you became deaf, like you were exposed to like an explosion or something and it made you deaf, or there was some damage to the inner ear, that may modify this. And this is not all encompassing, of course. There are exceptions, but you know, deafness represents long-standing refusal to listen to someone. So that would be like, you know, through your younger years, you know, you're an angry fucking kid and you blast your fucking music everywhere. I know I did that for fucking years, you know what I mean? And then you get tinnitus, that ring in the ears. And, you know, as you get older, you know, all those guys, like, what? I didn't hear you. You know, that there's actually an emotional component to that, believe it or The eyes represent capacity to see. Problems with the eyes suggest that there are things we do not want to see, either about ourselves or about our life, past, present, or future. If you are negotiating what's happening right now, what don't you want to face? Are you afraid to see the present or the future? Can you see what you are doing to yourself? Headaches. And a lot of people have headaches. Headaches come from invalidating the self. The next time you get a headache, stop and ask yourself, where and how have you made yourself wrong? Forgive of self will release tension in the neck and release the headache. 80% of headaches are created through tension. Okay, migraines. Migraines are created by people who want to be perfect and who create tons of pressure on themselves. A lot of suppressed anger is involved. Interestingly, migraines can almost always be alleviated by masturbation. If done at the onset of one, the sexual release dissolves the tension and pain. So next time that you have a migraine coming on, just rub one out. See how it goes. All right. Sinus problems. Yeah, I always like to throw some crazy, like random weird shit in there that people don't expect. Like, where the fuck did that come from? Sinus problems. Felt in the face and so close to the nose represents being irritated by someone in your life. Someone who's close to you, you may even feel they are bearing down on you. The neck represents the ability to be flexible on our thinking. Problems here usually mean we are being stubborn about our own concept of the situation. And yeah, I've had tight neck a lot. So, you know, this is reality checks for me too, right? The throat. The throat represents our ability to speak up for ourselves, to ask for what we want, to say, I am. Throat problems usually mean we do not feel we have the right to do these things. We feel inadequate to stand up for ourselves. Sore throats are always anger. If a cold is involved, there is mental confusion too. Laryngitis usually means that you are so angry you cannot speak. The throat also represents the creative flow in the body. This is where we express our creativity. And when our creativity is stifled and frustrated, people pleasers always have issues associated with the throat, tonsillitis, thyroid problems, and are just frustrated creatively, not being able to do what you want to do. The throat chakra is the place in the body where change takes place. When we resist change or are in the middle of change or are trying to change, we often have a lot of activity in our throats. Notice when you cough or when someone else coughs, what has just been said? What are we reacting to? Is it resistance and stubbornness, or is the process of change taking place in it? Isn't it interesting that this whole pandemic thing has to do with the respiratory system and the throat, right? Now, like if you go outside and you cough, people are like, oh, fuck, right? So energetically, this is, now we all feel it. This energy is trying to suppress our communication to ourselves and our growth and ability and willingness to change. Think about that. All right, arms. Arms represent our ability and capacity to embrace the experience of life. The upper arms are our capacity. The lower arms have to do with our abilities. We store old emotions in our joints. Elbows represent our flexibility in changing directions. Hands. Hold, clench, we let things slip through our fingers. Sometimes we hold on too long. We put a handle on something, hands down, hands off, etc. We give someone a hand, have helping hands. Hands can be gentle or hard with knotty knuckles from overthinking or gnarled with arthritic criticism. Grasping hands come from fear, fear of loss, fear of never having enough, fear that it won't stay. If you hold tightly grasping relationships only has the partner run away in desperation. Tightly clenched hands cannot take in anything new. Shaking the hands freely from the wrist gives a feeling of looseness and openness. You ever notice, like during yoga, you know, you specifically do certain positions and protocols that open up the hands, right? Fingers, each has meaning. Problems in the fingers show where you need to relax and let go. If you cut your index finger, there is probably anger and fear that has to do with your ego in some current situation. The index finger is the ego and fear. The middle finger has to do with sex and anger. The ring finger is both union and grief. The little finger has to do with family and pretending. You have a particular finger, like the thumb, that is like always just cracking, or you need to crack, or you need to move it around, fiddle with it. Think about that. The back. Back represents our support system. Problems usually mean we feel we are not being supported. The upper back has to do with lack of emotional support. The middle back has to do with guilt, all that stuff. That is in the back of us. Are you afraid to see what is back there? Do you feel stabbed in the back? Do you feel really burnt out? Are your finances a mess, or do you worry about them excessively? That will be the lower back, the lack or fear of lack of money, the amount has nothing to do with it. It's a fear. This is usually programmed through our ancestry, right? The lungs. Now, the lungs are significant too with this COVID thing, right? Lungs represent our capacity to take in and give out life. Problems here usually mean we are afraid to take in life, or perhaps we feel we do not have the right to live fully. Very interesting, right? They're trying to create slaves. They're trying to create fucking zombies. Breasts. Emphysema and heavy smoke in our ways of denying life. They mask a deep feeling of being totally unworthy of existing. Breasts represent the mothering principle. Problems here usually mean we are over-mothering either a person, place, or thing, or even an experience. If cancer is involved, there is also deep resentment. Think of all, like, breast cancer is like the leading cancer out there for women, right? The heart represents love, while our blood represents joy. Our heart lovingly pumps joy through our body. When we deny our joy and love, the heart shrivels and becomes cold. As a result, the blood gets sluggish and we creep our way to anemia, angina, and heart attacks. The stomach digests all the new ideas and experiences we have. What or who can't you stomach? What gets you in the gut? Stomach issues usually mean we don't know how to assimilate a new experience. Ulcers represent fear, a tremendous amount of fear, not being good enough. We cannot stomach who we are. We rip our guts out trying to please others. Love is the answer here. Fundamentally self-love. Be gentle and loving to the child within and give it the support and encouragement you want when you were little. The genitals represent the most feminine part of a woman and the most masculine part of a man. When we do not feel comfortable with being a man or a woman, when we reject our sexuality, reject our bodies as dirty or sinful, we often have problems here. Bladder, anal, vaginitis, prostate, and penis. Problems all come under the same area. They stem from the distorted beliefs about our bodies and the correctness of their functions. Every organ in our body is a magnificent expression of life with its own special functions. Okay? If you have sexual problems, try relating to the rectum, penis, or vagina, which with a sense of love and appreciation for their function and beauty. If you're beginning to cringe or get irate as you think about this, ask yourself why. Who told you to deny any part of your body? Who made it taboo or secret? Our sex organs were created as the most pleasurable part of our body to give us pleasure. To deny is to create pain and punishment. Sex is not only okay, it's glorious and wonderful. It's just as normal for fun for us to have sex as it to breathe air, right? It's very important stuff here. Right. And, you know, a lot of people these days, especially with all this like child sex trafficking stuff coming out, like it's crazy, man. Like people are having some serious, you know, sexual identity crises, especially right now. Bladder problems usually come from chronically being pissed off, usually at a partner. Women have more bladder problems than men because they are more prone to hide their hurt. Vaginitis usually involves feeling romantically hurt by our partner. Men's prostate problems have a lot to do with self-worth and also believing that as he gets older, he becomes less of a man. And I think prostate cancer is the leading cancer in men too. Impotence adds fear and sometimes is related to spite against a previous mate. Interesting. Frigidity comes from fear or a belief that it is wrong to enjoy the body. It also comes from the self-disgust. It can be intensified by an insecure partner. The colon represents our ability to let go, to release that which no longer serves us. It is only our fear that blocks the release of the old. The legs carry us forward in life. Problems here indicate a fear or reluctance of moving forward or a reluctance to move forward in a certain direction. Not wanting to do things will often produce minor leg problems. Varicose veins represent standing in a job or a place that we hate. The vein lose their ability to carry joy. Okay, and it's interesting that a lot of these things have like cosmetic surgical solutions, but it's not solving the energetic portion. It's just masking it, hiding it. Really, the knees have to do with flexibility, like the neck. Only they express bending and pride, ego, and stubbornness. Often when moving forward, we are fearful of bending, becoming inflexible, stiffening the joints. We want to move forward, yet we don't want to change our ways. Let go. Feet have to do with our understanding of ourselves and of life, the past, present, and future. Little kids move on happy dancing feet. Whereas many older people have a difficult time walking. Their understanding has been warped and they often feel there is no place to go. I'll tell you what, I woke up this morning and my left foot, my left heel is in excruciating pain. I'm like limping from it. It's weird. So that's something that I'm going to have to digest today. And of course, now with Venus retrograde, you try to tune into what the answer is, and there is no answer. Like, fuck, I don't know what's going on. I stretched, I worked out, I meditate, I did rapé, I do ayahuasca. Come on, give me a fucking break. Yeah. At that point, you're just going to fucking let go, right? So anyways, skin represents our individuality. Problems here usually mean our individuality is being threatened somehow. We feel that others have power over us. We are thin-skinned. One of the quickest ways to heal skin problems is to nurture yourself and take back your power. Easier said than done sometimes, I know, I get it. Arthritis is a disease that comes from a constant pattern of criticism of self and others. Arthritic people are often attract a lot of criticism because it is their pattern to criticize. Also can be called perfectionism. Asthma means that there is a feeling that you do not have the right to breathe for yourself. Asthmatic children often have overdeveloped conscience, and they take on guilty feelings whenever it seems wrong in their environment. A feeling of unworthiness and guilt creates a need for self-punishment. Boils, burns, cuts, fevers, sores, anything that's itis and inflammation are all indicators of anger expressing in the body. Anger always finds a way to express itself no matter how much we try to suppress it. This anger can be released simply by acknowledging that it is there. Cancer. Cancer is a disease caused by deep resentment held for a long time until it literally eats away at the body. Something happens in childhood that destroys our sense of trust. This experience is never forgotten, and the individual lives with a sense of self-pity, finding it hard to develop and maintain long-term meaningful relationships. Because of this belief system, life seems to be a series of disappointments. Hopeless and helpless and loss permeate the thinking, and it becomes easy to blame others for all their problems. People with cancer are also very self-critical. Overweight. People represents a need for protection. We seek protection from hurts, slights, criticism, abuse, sexuality, and sexual advance. In general, this is fear of life. Pain of any sort is an indication of guilt. Guilt always seeks punishment, and punishment creates pain. Chronic pain comes from chronic guilt, so often so deeply buried that we don't even know it's there. Stiffness in the body represents stiffness in the mind. Fear makes us cling to old ways, and we find it difficult to be flexible. So there's a little excerpt right there. You know, it's one of the things I realized in the last weekly energy report was all the retrograde Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus and Capricorn is how stubborn I really am. Going back to your part on the knees. I feel you. And you may be experiencing right now, especially with all these ascension symptoms going on with all this, you know, us raising our vibration. You're getting weird pains in weird parts of your body. Yeah, right. I feel you. I've actually, I wrote this part of this book like 3 years ago. But I had a book that I made into 3 books that I changed into 2 books that I changed into a workshop that I kept fucking changing it. So I'm basically taking pieces and creating more specific books like this now. And it's just, I was missing, you know, being in the right vibration to be able to bring it out into the world so that I can speak, you know, 100%, you know, with intention and with gratitude, you know, to really make sure that the information gets out and is sort of complete in a way, right? So yeah, right now I'm noticing that ascension symptoms and physical pains are very dominant because I've been reading the Law of One, the Book of Ra, and the way that they explain all this, you know, ascension stuff is actually it makes sense. It's sort of, for me, it's put a lot of dots together. So as we raise a vibration, certain people like us are going through what's called the harvest. Now the harvest, the word kind of has a weird energy to it, but the fact is that we're being chosen to rise up, right? And we have to do this because, quite frankly, the world needs us. So as we rise up and we go through this, you know, like whether you're in the period of like a dark night of the soul, or if you're feeling like almost like just incredible amounts of positive energy, like I've been getting these massive waves of incredibly awakening and enlightening energy and channeling like crazy. and it's been fascinating. But it's also difficult. I'm noticing that if I eat any kind of junk food, it'll either put me to sleep or it'll make me feel like complete shit the next day. Or if I have a bunch of gluten, right? Can't do gluten. Like I literally feel like I'm like detoxing off of heroin if I consume gluten. So these things are going to get more and more dominant as we grow and we raise this vibration. So you want to be aware of all this stuff going on, and the more the more imbalanced and strong the physical body is right now, the more able your body is to ascend. And so it's like you feel like this, you might feel like shit one day, but then okay, so now I'm feeling like real crap, so now I'm going to dedicate 1-2 hours to stretching, to meditating, to clearing my energy. All right, like at least this is what I do. And if I'm feeling that, like, okay, my body needs attention now, like I'm in pain, I'm hurting, I can't just, pay it, no, never mind. And I do that, and then that night I get some good sleep, weird fucking dreams, but I get good sleep. And then we have the next day, like ready to go, feeling clear, feeling better, and I can incorporate all this stuff. But it's this sort of seesaw, very, up and down energy that we can mitigate it through our nutrition and through our supplementation. And again, that is what comes back around to Euphoria, because that's, of course, been my staple for making sure that my body has all the micronutrients that it needs to stay going and all this, to digest. Like I noticed that if I don't take it, like I don't digest food as efficiently, right? That even when I sleep, my brain doesn't get into as deep a sleep. That like I notice that I try to compensate. Like if I don't have like that cellular energy, then I start taking stimulants, and that just makes me feel shitty because my adrenals have taken a beating over the last 20 years. Let me tell you. It's crazy how our charts are now relating in the body and in itself. My knees pain was a recent issue out of nowhere, and during my ascension process, I had cryotherapy to alleviate that pre-bullshit COVID. That's fucking awesome, man. And hopefully, I know that my favorite infrared sauna place here in Vegas just opened back up. So that stuff is starting to open back up, thank God, because quite honestly, like that's some of the healthiest shit that you can do, right? So now, like pretty soon, guys, like I think by June 1st, like things should be rolling again. People are going to be all weird about shit, but just try to spread that positive energy. And when you're spreading that positive energy and you're coming from that balanced place, you're practicing all this stuff, people are going to ask you questions. People are going to want to talk. People are going to know what you're doing. And then you just say, yeah, come check this out. And, be a part of the community, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Maybe it'll work for you, right? And we start building rapport in a new way, and we start, creating more health and wealth. Like that's all our responsibility right now in order to be able to help, raise this collective consciousness, because people are looking, people are afraid, people are scared, people are tired. And when you have this positive light within you that's balanced and that's connected to this higher vibrational source that keeps you accountable, people will see that and feel it. Okay, very, very important. And that's exactly what we all doing here, right? Like, you ever notice, like, after these talks, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go get my day fucking started, like, doing jumping jacks and shit. All right, like, it's sort of like, all right, let's go get motivated, like, ready, break. Let's go fucking make shit happen, right? Feels good. And so we take that is our mechanism of going forth in this world. It's that energy. Energy is fucking powerful, dude. And it's exactly what people are looking for, even though they don't know it. Yeah. Then you start getting into all the witchy woo-woo shit, and then be a fucking wizard, like most of us are already. It relates to yeah. So, do any of you guys have any like what part of the nutritional protocol are you guys in? You have any questions? What's up? What's up, Polaris?
So I watched the week 2 video before I got integrated into the live chats and everything.
Yep.
And I was all about it. I was all about following the protocol. But in watching the video, I was like, oh, this would be like a really great idea, if this bullshit was not going on. Because I was already like doing a lot of what you were saying, taking out certain, I don't remember what was in the video, but you were talking about like removing a lot of the things like fast food, junk food, alcohol, I was already in the process of removing a lot of those things because I was already on track with things in the gym. For me, like the gym is synonymous with nutrition. So if I'm in the gym every day, or if I'm in the gym, if I work out a lot. I'm a bodybuilder. So like for me, if I'm in the gym a consistent amount of time, like eventually the nutrition is gonna follow. Some people are a little bit different. If they're eating right, then the gym is gonna follow. For me, the gym is like life. I used to be a personal trainer, like so like gym. So and for me, like nutrition used to be an issue, but now now it's not so much of an issue. Like I can eat healthy. So like, but now because we have all these stressors, then you add in spiritual awakening, and we're not able to do what we used to do. We have to like find all these new ways. It's like I just literally figured out this shit to where it's manageable for me, or I can do it the way that I want to do it. And now I'm being told, or the universe or life is telling me, oh, well, figure out a way to do it.
Find another way.
Figure out another way if I can do it. I'm like, no. I don't know if that's me being stubborn. I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking do it a new way. Like I figured out how I want to do it. I don't have the resources. I live in a fucking studio. I'm not adding a bunch of fucking weights, a squat rack and all that.
Here, brother.
Sorry, what?
You're hearing a lot of excuses over here.
That's, you're entitled to your opinion, but I just had a certain
you had a way that worked for you, and now that way
worked for me,
and that's causing a lot of shit to come up.
It is. I think it is my stubbornness. I can admit that it's my stubbornness. And yeah, that's what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with my stubbornness as it relates to finding new ways, because I'm stubborn in the sense that I like doing things my certain way, and I literally just found out what worked for me.
Right, and that's usually how the cycles in life go. Once you start getting a rhythm down and things start working, then bam, sorry, dude, got to figure it out a whole new way. But here's the thing, though, man. When you learn how to have the flexibility within yourself and adapt to these changes, that's when the magic really fucking happens. That's when the big breakthroughs come. Okay, like Kelly is an IFBB pro. Val, him and I together have done like 25 shows. Okay, I'm sure Dale is an athlete too. Okay, like I know like a lot of us are really into health and fitness and wellness, but when you get attached to that one way that has to just stay there, that means that you're coming from a self-limiting belief system. And that's exactly what it's bringing up. Okay. So we need to look at, that's more like an addiction to an identity. You have an identity that's like attached to the gym. And trust me, bro, my last bodybuilding competition in 2013, I placed worst I ever had. I placed like 33rd out of 38. It devastated me, man. I lost my identity. I didn't know what to do anymore. And ironically, very soon after that, a couple months later, I started massage school, and that's when I had my massive spiritual awakening. And I released that attachment, but it was fucking hard because for a couple months, I didn't know who the fuck I was. I had to learn all these new feelings. Like I didn't want to eat like I used to. I didn't want to train or hang around the same people like I used to. I was like, it just doesn't fucking feel right. I even broke with my girlfriend at the time. I was like, something's weird. I can't do this. So this is like when this is coming up, instead of getting lost in that banter of what the fuck, this sucks. Why can't I? How do I take a step back and be like, okay, what is this trying to teach me? And how can I alter, get out of my comfort zone and try new things? Like me, there's no gym open out here right now. So in the morning I wake up and I go for a run like I used to do in the military. I brought it back to my fundamentals that I did before I started bodybuilding. Okay. So I'm making sure I'm eating, super healthy, and I go for a run in the morning and I stretch, and then I do my push-ups. I have a little pull-up bar and a dip bar and a little like Olympic swingy thing that hangs from my ceiling. And I do my crunches, and I just do all this like calisthenic kind of stuff. And I think I'm hanging on to it pretty good, but I definitely don't feel the pump. Like that pump is life, dude, right?
Yeah,
like you want to feel it, you love it.
Killing me. Like, bench, squat, deadlift. That's my main thing. And I'm just like,
you got to let it go, bro. You got to let it go. See, there's that. you have a lot of resistance over here, man. So, you know,
because that was a large part of my identity. That was I wouldn't say a large part of my identity. That was a large.
yes, it
part
was a
of
large
what
part of
got
your
me
identity.
through the day.
Right.
It got me through, you know, just in general. I mean,
That language in itself, it got me
from.
through. Why are you just getting through your day?
You're right. You're right.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to just
get. I mean, but you know, especially when you're under duress. I mean, like I wasn't under duress during that time, but it was just it was a more healthy. It was a healthier outlet than anything else.
Right?
Just sitting, watching Netflix all day. Like even now during this time, I haven't even really I haven't succumbed to binge watching. Like yesterday, I probably watched like an hour of Netflix throughout the day. Like yesterday, I watched. Weren't you on last night for the weekly injury report live?
Yeah.
I watched your injury report. I watched like a couple of other horoscope astrology things. I cleaned the house. I feng shui things all day. Like I didn't even do any of that. But I'm like, okay, I couldn't have a fucking hour at the gym. Like I couldn't have that one thing. That's where my thing. So I feel like I don't ask like prior to all this stuff. Like I don't ask for a lot, you know.
Okay, Polaris.
So
what I'm feeling from you right now, because I think this is a big position that you're in that has a lot of potential for a breakthrough, but there's going to be a part of you that has to break down before you can have this breakthrough. I'm feeling a lot of guilt and a lot of shame in your energy, brother.
Okay.
All right. There's this deeply rooted sensation that it has to be this certain way, or you're looking for this certain feeling. If it's not that, it can't be right. And then even when you're sitting and chilling and you know, watching Netflix, you're like, well, I'm not going to binge watch. So it's like you're implementing these rules on yourself and you're engaging in this. It's good or it's bad. And we have to watch out for that because it's only good or bad if you deem it so. So binge watch, fuck, dude. Like this past weekend, I binge watched a couple shows on Netflix and I didn't beat myself up for it. So you're beating yourself up a lot, and you have a lot of this frustration and this irritation because things can't be the certain way that you want. But you have to detach yourself from this energy if you want to grow. This is the universe throwing this shit in your face. Be like, hey, you need to, and then you get caught up in it, and then you're in the middle of it, and your life is chaos. But why? Right? Why is it chaotic? You're creating the chaos in your own mind. This is your ego attacking itself because a part of it needs to go. A part of it needs to die so you can ascend into this higher vibration in your heart. You're in your mind, bro. You got to get into your heart. Okay? So acknowledge, and I can see like you're receiving this, okay? And you have to acknowledge and then sort of sit with it and realize like, okay, like maybe it's okay if I just sit here and do nothing but breathe for 30 minutes. Like, take an opposite approach. It's like everything that you're trying to do right now ain't working. And I've been in that position a couple times, right? And you get to a point where it's like, okay, clearly everything that I'm doing isn't working. So I'm just going to not do the things that I'm trying to do because I don't know what to do. So you're just going to undo what you're doing. And when you undo what you're doing and you sit in that for a little bit, that goes away. And then new ideas, new opportunities, new curiosities start to pop up from a better place. It's going to be uncomfortable as fuck at first, man. You're going to have to embrace these feelings and you're going to feel emotional out of nowhere. And you're going to all of a sudden maybe even like have a dream about when you're a child or like all this stuff. This is all a part of the deep work that we do here. Okay. And that is exactly why you're here, because you know that there's something to gain and learn here. And you want to be able to get past this fucking blockage, because you do have a massive purpose for being on this earth. Okay. And once you learn this lesson and grow through it, you're going to take this vibration and you're going to learn a very, very, very deeply embedded, valuable lesson. And you're going to give that to other people and pass it along. And I actually have a very big feeling that this is going to be a big chunk of connecting the dots for your life purpose. Because are you clear about where your life purpose is?
I have an inclination that it has to do with healing and healing others because I'm an intuitive empath, and it has something to do with projection. But projecting something. Something about the ability to project. I haven't always used it for good purposes, but something along the lines of healing. My grandfather was a pastor, which is like a healer. My grandmother was a nurse.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna stop you right there because this is what you do. I asked you like a question that would require maybe a total of a sentence, but you seek validation through explaining that people in your lineage have done this, have done that, and I kind of know, but I don't really know. You're in your mind, bro. You're not in your heart. If you ask me what my purpose is, this.
Okay.
It doesn't require me to go into explaining what other people do, and I did that for years, though. When I was trying to create this, I was trying to navigate my mind, trying to figure it out, because I'm a stubborn motherfucker too, man. That's why it's taken me 41 years to get here. But, you know, like you do, I noticed that once I just sort of stopped, I just stopped trying to figure it out because I had to get to a point where I didn't know, I had no option. I didn't know what to do. And the only thing I had was faith. And then when you just get beat down, at least I got beat down. Hopefully not everybody has to get beat down, but you know, when we finally get to that point, we're like, I just have no fucking clue where to go, what to do. So I'm just going to stop. And then that energy clears out. And then this new energy comes in one little nugget at a time. Okay. So you're getting lost in all this, like you are super sensitive to energy, but you are taking on other people's energy and you're confusing your own energy with others' energy. Right. And that is making you not, because you're being drawn to that confusion through your guilt and your shame. So once you acknowledge that within yourself and you allow it to come up, you're going to be much clearer and you're going to listen. You're going to tune into your heart and you're going to feel what's right. And you're going to, and that it's very small and it's very still and it's very momentary. But the key for you is, man, is that all this chaos that's in your mind, you need to shut it down. And you do that by changing your state. Tony Robbins talks about changing your state. So instead of just being pissed off all day that you can't get to the gym, go for a run. Or if you can't go for a run, do some jump rope at home, or just go for a hike, or wherever you're at, you know, like try something that you haven't tried before and see how that makes you feel. Right. And this goes the same with nutrition. All right. And the more in alignment our bodies are, the stronger our energy is to be able to produce this desired result. It's all interconnected. Okay, so here we embrace our vulnerability because that's where our power is at, right? So when, like, I can feel it, bro. Like there's something that you're tapping into within yourself right now. You're like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the guilt and shame part. I mean, it's something that I suppress. I'm writing it down, but I see you. I feel it. I feel you.
Okay. So, I'm excited to see.
I can explore that.
I'm excited to see what,
figure out how to explore that.
I'm excited to see what you discover or what you end up embracing from all this. So I think we just opened up
a squat rack and a deadlift bar. that would help. That might help things along, you know. Or like a 72 kilo kettlebell. I used to be able to do snatches. So that would like help out a lot. Like
that'll
be able to do a snatch, a kettlebell snatch. That would like split the second kettlebell in the air. That would just like the endorphin rush. That was the thing. Like that endorphin high, the dopamine rush, all of that would like knock that shit. You know, that would like help alleviate that stuff. That might have negated everything you just said. That might have negated everything that you just said. But like, that would push through things. That would like push through a lot of that. You know.
I feel you, bro.
I don't know.
I feel you.
I don't know. But I do receive what you're saying. I do receive what you said. At a minimum, I received what you said.
Look, we're all stubborn in our own way, right? So we have to look at those triggers. And you know, the point where those triggers come up and you're just like, okay, fuck. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna get pissed off at, like, you almost laugh at it, like, you know, as almost not like a joke, but as like, there's not more you can do to me, you know, bring it on, whatever, Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm
Once you-
just gonna base it on I have 3 planets in Capricorn, so like those
well,
3
there's a lot of
planets in
transformation going
Capricorn.
on there, right? You know.
So, and those are like stubborn planets, I believe. Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. Yeah, one of which is in heavy retrograde. So, and Uranus just went through some shit.
I'm a Capricorn too, brother. So
yeah, my Virgo. So yeah, I'm Virgo.
Yeah.
Rising, ascendant, and
actually, how many fucking Capricorns we have on here? Yeah, well, at least 3. Val, what are you?
Virgo.
Oh, well, another Earth sign, another stubborn motherfucker, but that's okay. But look, that's why we do this, you know, like that's why we do this work, and that's Janoski is a Virgo too. Hell yeah. But so this is why we come together like this, and why I created the whole protocol from experiencing all these things over a long period of time. Doing these things allows you to come back from all this chaos in your brain and bring it back into alignment and have that centerpiece. Sort of like the way I see it is that we all have this storm, this hurricane going on in our consciousness, in our mind, all right, especially during times of great change. And in the middle of the storm, or maybe a tornado is a better example, right? When you get to the eye of the storm, that's where everything is still. That's where everything is just okay, right? We need to make it to the center of that storm and have some kind of stability in that place. And that comes in our mind. And whatever activity it is that we figure out that we need to do, which I know for me and for a lot of people that I've worked with, is nutrition. Because that's something that we all have control over. That's something that we are able to consciously do. And when we focus on this, we're improving our body and our mind. It improves our confidence very quickly. And when we have more confidence, okay, that's when all this fear and guilt and shame starts to come up. And we're getting stronger in our confidence. And, you know, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It changes, right? So we're shifting all of this darker, denser energy in for this higher vibrational energy, one little nugget at a time. As we work through something, it goes, and a new thing comes in. And it's just constant flow. Sort of like doing Tai Chi. Constant flow, right? So, both your kids are Virgos. Jesus Christ.
Coming up.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, then you got some Virgo lessons right there, for sure. Absolutely. But hey,
nothing
what's
wrong with
happening?
Virgos, by the way. Nothing wrong with Virgos.
Not at all. Absolutely not. No. Yeah, Libra gang. Hell yeah.
Might be a problem if you got like 3 Virgos in one, like Virgo Sun, Virgo Ascending, and Mercury in Virgo, which I think is a problem, but that's my personal issue.
Yeah, you know, Suriana said it perfectly. It's all about acceptance. We have to accept where we're at. We have to accept what we're feeling. We have to accept the direction that we're going. And when we fully accept it, then we can step into the unknown. Like, all right, what's next? That acceptance lets go of that fear. It's like, all right, well, you know, and for me, my situation with my daughter has been the biggest example of my challenge with acceptance, because I still struggle with it. You know, it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem just. But I mean, Erica, you went a long time not seeing your kids. You know, like you had to go through your own shit. And you know, one of my big challenges.
It doesn't get easier. There's nothing that you can do about that pain and struggle. Like that's the core of you.
Right.
The only thing you could do is keep fighting and know that when she gets older, like she's going to realize like that it wasn't right and you had no control over it. My kids now, it's 17 and 18. Like I never talk bad about their dad ever. And they got to witness who their father was because they were with them and all the lies. And I'm like, I have court documents like this over
right. I hear you.
years. And they looked back and they were like, you never talk bad about dad, and dad did this and dad did that. And as they got older and saw him for what he is and what he did, they were like, that's not right. And they know that I did everything that I could and that he was in the wrong, as he's now doing this to his third wife. With this right. So kids with each of us and the same person through all of it. And my daughter lives with me, and like my son won't even talk to his father. refuses to even speak to him or answer a text. Nothing to do with me.
So
And my daughter lives with me, and she's just like, I can't believe he's like this, and that he put you through that, and that you never talk bad about him. I'm like, it wasn't my place. I'm like, that's your father. If I talk bad about him, that's like talking bad about you, and I never wanted you to feel that way. And I knew that the truth would eventually come through and that he would see it.
yeah,
But it doesn't get easier.
and your situation actually really inspires me to keep going, because I mean, we've been friends for a long time, and I've seen you, you know, when you didn't have custody of your kids, and you've changed. Like,
I tried to kill myself.
like it completely changed your life. You got custody.
That was like the worst. I felt like my only reason for living was taken from me, and I tried to kill myself. Like, all hope was gone. I took a bottle of Ambien. I just didn't want to be alive. Between him trying to kill me, another bad relationship happening at the same time, and not having my kids, like, that was probably the lowest I've ever been in my life. And that was obviously a long time ago, but that was, I still remember writing the note to my kids explaining that had nothing to do with them, and that they were the best thing that I ever did in my life. But I literally just was so young and in so much pain that
Well,
my only reason for living was gone. So, like, I know what that's like. I mean,
well, I'm grateful that you're still here, and that, you know, and that things have gotten better for you, because you definitely deserve.
I mean, my daughter lives with me. She's like my best friend. She's like my mini me, even though she's taller now, but whatever. But
Like an inch.
she's like my little sunshine, and she knows the truth now. And she'll be like, well, Dad said this. And I'm like, well, I have court papers to prove otherwise. I'm like, if you'd like to see him. She's like, no, I know you've never lied to us. You've always talked to us like people explained everything if we had questions, whereas he'll lie and say the sky is green and he'll believe it. Like, he's a narcissist, like 100%.
This is a big part of your story, your journey. You know, like this is a big part of what shaped you. And like, when you tell your story, it you know, it gives me hope with my story. So I hope that you realize that, and that you can really go out there and help others that are, you know, because there's a lot of people out there that are, you know, the system is broken. And there's a lot of people out there that are going through things.
I still can't believe that she's gotten away with keeping your daughter. Like, it just doesn't even compute. Like,
well,
I know with everything, court's being shut down isn't helping anything, but
the court, I've actually been calling the court every day for the last 2 weeks. I finally got I got through to the clerk, and I was told by an attorney that she was the one to talk to get this information I needed to go get these tests done. And she's like, well, I don't know. You're going to have to call this other number. And I call this other number, and of course they don't answer.
And call this number, that person is the runaround.
Being thrown over like a fucking asshole. Like, so, but I did contact the supervised visitation place, and I spoke to the woman, and I registered, and she spoke to my daughter's mother, and my daughter's mother said that that she will not allow me to see my daughter in supervised visitation until I get those tests done. I can't get it. So
730 psyche eval or a drug?
It's a psych eval and a drug test.
So they did that to me too. It was a 730 psych eval, which I said we both had to do it. And we showed up in the office, and his reasons for not wanting me to be around my kids, the psychiatrist literally looked at him and was like, you might want to rethink this because it's not looking good. Because he was like, is her house dirty? He's like, no, you could probably eat off the floors. Like, and he was like, okay, so what's the problem? He's like, I just don't like her. And the guy looked at him like, you might want to rethink this because my recommendation to the court is going to look really, really bad on you. What she's asking for is not anything crazy. I passed my drug test. He failed twice for meth. He failed twice for meth and still had my kids.
Well, you know, like, I only bring this up to sort of show that, you know, we all have a story to tell, and we all have.
We write letters for you, like all of our community, like do some kind of letter for you to turn in as to like character, like. I've
been there. I've had 20 letters or in references that I've sent in. It didn't do a fucking thing. So. It doesn't matter. I know that I'm going to figure it out, and that things are going to turn around. I'm holding that belief, and that I'm intention, and I'm letting go and accepting the situation for what it is. And that allows me to send love and gratitude just for my daughter, you know, being alive and hopefully safe and hopefully healthy, you know. But I have a knowing within myself that things are going to turn around, and I just have to solid in that effort. And, you know, things have, and I've noticed in my life when I have that knowing, like, I know, like, euphoria is actually one of the things I know, like, this shit changes lives. This is by far like one of the best decisions I've ever made. And even building the business wise, I met some of the most amazing people, helped some of the most amazing people. And it's been a staple in a lot of growth for a lot of people that I know. So I use that, like everything that I stand by, everything that I work with, everything that I do, it's because it's been proven to work and to shift and to change lives. So that's where I'm coming from. And I'm grateful for all you guys being here. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. I know you guys gotta get going. You guys have busy lives. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm gonna start posting these on the website as well. So you guys can access these. And if you want to show, you know, anybody about this kind of stuff we're talking about, I know it's a bit unorthodox, but my moon is in Aquarius and I'm fucking weird. So I like to do shit in an unconventional way, but I want to encourage you guys to invite people that you know that you think would be a good fit for this, and invite them to these chats. Okay. That's how we grow this. That's how we all create win-win situations, by opening up and, you know, and creating new relationships, new bonds, and new growth, and everybody helps everybody, so everybody keeps growing and winning. All right. So thank you very much, Val. Thanks for being
Hi,
here.
Val. Nice to see you.
For letting me sit in. I know it takes a lot to unpack like that. Today,
Yeah.
I had this idea about nutrition and fitness and everything, but it was a spiritual nutrition that I got in today. And I think that was an aspect that Polaris was talking about, where I had an idea of what I thought we were going to talk about today. And the idea shifted into a whole different perspective of what I thought nutrition was today. And I got my fill from spiritual nutrition rather than what I thought my nutrition talk was going to be. So thank you, Polaris, about that.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm glad I was able to share and inspire.
We're gonna meet the forms itself.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah. Elijah, Aquarius moon, represent. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you. I'll see you guys Friday. All right. Peace.